Let's go ahead and call the Senate to order. The Sergeant at Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
All right, Senators, this evening we are very pleased to have Pastor Emmanuel Johnson of St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Reisterstown, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from the 10th District. Please rise for the invocation.
God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far, and the God who will lead us on. We thank you for our lying down last night and our early rising this morning. And you brought us this moment to see the going down of the sun. We all gather here to say thank you for being so kind, gracious, and merciful, and loving to all of us. We all gather as bad children before a good and merciful Father. We ask you to forgive us of all our past mistakes, misdeeds, unkind words, and thoughts. Oh, now, oh God, we ask you to be with us in this chamber, with all our elected and appointed officials. Bless them individually and collectively. Help them to make decisions that will benefit humankind all over the world, especially in the state of Maryland. Help us to understand that this is not our world, and the people in this world all belong to you. Be with our senators individually and collectively as they represent us, the constituents. We all don't think alike, and we all come from different backgrounds, but we all belong to you. Some call you Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who will provide. Some call you Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals. Some call you Jehovah Nisi, the Lord our banner. Some call you Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace. By whatever name we all call you our Father. Oh God, we ask you to bring us peace and solace to the families of our fellow Marylanders who were tragically killed the other day on 695. May the souls of those killed rest in peace. Bless Marylanders and people all over the world. We ask you again that you bless all our officials all over the world. There is a special blessing upon the leader of this state, Governor Westmore, as he leads us in a positive direction. Give him what he needs when he needs it. Give him a steady hand in government. Be with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and in every hour as he faces supporters and opposition. Bless the House of Delegates and its leadership. Bless both houses and Senate to work together in harmony for the betterment of the state of Maryland. Bless all our elected officials here in Maryland. It is in the name of the all-wise God we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well said. Thank you. Appreciate it. We especially use those prayers for harmony across the chambers these next 2 weeks. Chair recognizes Senator from District 10.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, I want you to also recognize, in addition to Reverend, the good Reverend, recognize his wife, Miss Allison, and also a good friend.
Welcome.
Yes. Ms. Allison Johnson and a good friend, LaHoose McFadden. And Mr. President, I refer to him as Reverend Homeboy because we are both from South Carolina.
Welcome.
Yeah. So, and I ask that you journalize his message.
Wonderful. Without objection, most certainly, Senator, we will journalize the Reverend's wonderful remarks this evening and appreciate him, his work, and his beautiful family, and thank you for everything. Thank you. Excellent. Yes, Chair recognizes. Actually, let's check on our attendance here first. Has everyone recorded their presence? All right. The clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. We have several resolutions. Senator from Howard, no, mind if we do the resolutions quickly? All right. Let's start with our resolution. Senator from District 44. Some distinguished gentlemen joining us in the chamber here.
Absolutely, Mr. President.
Despite to your seatmate in front of you's,
Colleagues, for those of you who serve on executive nominations, you've heard about this particular fraternity on numerous occasions. Tonight we have the gentlemen of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, the oldest and the coldest fraternity known to man. Tonight, joining us, we have Delta Lambda chapter, which, for those of you who understand Greek letters and things, Delta is the fourth letter of the Greek alphabet, meaning this organization, or this chapter is the fourth oldest graduate chapter, Lambda, of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. We have our president, and I'm not going to get into everyone else because one of my other brothers who serves with us, he'll get into that. But we want to make certain this chapter was founded in 1919, has been coming down for over 2 decades to Annapolis for their Alpha Night in Annapolis, doing great work in Baltimore City. And I just want you to all, and I just ask your colleagues just to give them a round of applause. Madam Secretary. And up in the rafters, we have chapters from all across the state, so some of you may be representing some of these gentlemen. So I just want to acknowledge them. They're in the front and the back galleries for us. Madam Secretary, if you wouldn't mind reading the resolution.
Clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Delta Lambda Chapter Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity in recognition of changing outcomes for people through educational access, healthcare promotion, civic engagement, and socioeconomic development. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 27th day of March, 2023.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. To the gentlemen of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the Delta Lambda chapter, congratulations for your phenomenal work, and the chair recognizes the senator from Prince George's.
Thank you, Mr. President. Permission to use the senator's name?
Senator may proceed.
Thank you. On behalf of myself and Senator Charles Sitnor, Mr. President, I'm proud to stand and recognize these brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated here on the coldest night in Annapolis, Alpha Night. As the first Greek letter organization founded by black men, Alpha Phi Alpha was founded on an ice cold Tuesday, December 4th, 1906, at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, by 7 young college students who recognized the need for a strong bond of brotherhood among African descendants in this country. The fraternity initially served as a study and support group for minority students who face racial prejudice, both educationally and socially. The founders and early leaders of the fraternity succeeded in laying a firm foundation for Alpha Phi Alpha's principles of manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind. Since its founding in 1906, Alpha Phi Alpha has supplied a voice and vision to the struggle of black men and people of color around the country and around the world. Some notable Alpha brothers include Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, Jesse Owens, and countless others who have changed the landscape of our country forever. Now at over 290,000 strong members, the fraternity continues to produce excellent, bold leaders in our communities here in the state of Maryland and across the United States, including our distinguished governor, Brother Wes Moore. With that being said, Mr. President, can you read the resolution?
The clerk will read the resolution.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity in recognition of 116 years of service, a brotherhood working for equity and justice across the nation. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 27th day of March, 2023.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? It's a preemptive congratulations. The clerk will take the call. To the gentlemen of Alpha Phi Alpha generally, thank you, and you are congratulated for your 116 years of service. It is truly remarkable. You are changing the world. Thank you very much for everything you do. Thank you. See you soon.
Mr. President,
Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 44th District.
You know, I forgot to mention some of the men of Alpha Phi Alpha. You may recognize names when you're coming down to Annapolis. Aris T. Allen, Harry Cole, Clarence Blount. So some of these brothers may have been your colleagues. So I just wanted to make certain that we all were aware. Thank you very much.
Senator. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right, we have another resolution. Senator from Montgomery County, Vice Chair of Education, Energy, and the Environment. If we could have our guest join us here in the well.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. We all know how challenging the pandemic was for our educators, for our families, our parents, and our students. But often not seen and not appreciated are our school counselors. And today I am honoring the elementary, the middle school, and the high school counselors of the year. So I just want to give some quick data. There's supposed to be about 250 students per guidance counselor, per school counselor. And right now there's an average of 332. The load is enormous and has gotten heavier. The needs have gotten heavier. There's a 36% increase that has been measured in anxiety or depression among the students. 86% of counselors think that students are having more trouble focusing, and 94% report an increase, again, in anxiety or depression. The numbers are extraordinary, and these are two of the three sheroes that we are honoring today. So Irene Kakasari from Centennial High School, District 9. Right here is the High School Counselor of the Year. Irene, if you want to wave.
Wonderful. Welcome.
And the fabulous woman next to her from District 14 is my beloved, cherished, fabulous cousin, Katie Friedman Mendelson, who is here with us and is the middle school counselor of the year, who is at Kingsview Middle School in Germantown. So welcome, Katie.
I think she may have a child here. I heard some early claps from the Cubans over here.
Yeah, so I think we might have to say hello to her beautiful family. Many of you may know Adam Mendelson, who is at MSEA, her wonderful husband, and Eliana and Aviva, her daughters, have joined us.
Welcome.
And then in the gallery, our proud mom and dad, and sister Jenny Friedman and Benji and Alex, who are here, her nephews. And everybody's here to cheer on Katie. So we just adore her. Heather Quill from Lincoln Elementary School in Frederick unfortunately had a last-minute emergency, but we want to honor and thank all three of them today. So if the resolution could be read.
Clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to the Maryland Guidance Counselors of the Year in recognition of being named Maryland's Guidance Counselors of the Year. Thank you for supporting the students during these challenging times. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 27th day of March, 2023.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. To the wonderful, wonderful leaders, the Maryland Guidance Counselors of the Year, we thank you. The Senate of Maryland unanimously thanks you for your service and your incredible work. We are truly grateful. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you all for joining us. All right, we have another resolution. Senator from the capital city. We have two more, actually.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm just honored to represent a pretty unique group. We're all proud of the groups we have in our district, but I represent the Dragon Boaters. The Annapolis Dragon Boat Club was founded in 2010 as a respite, as a place for survivors of breast cancer to come together and get out on the water and heal together. And today, Mr. President, we're honoring them for being the only Maryland team in the International Breast Cancer Paddlers Commission. What I'm understanding is the Olympics of dragon boating that took place in Italy. The only Maryland team to represent our great state is the Annapolis Dragon Boat Club. With us today on the floor We have Joni, Adrian Kraft, Liz Carlin, Kathy Heron, and of course, folks from the House will know and love our dear Gail Smith is with us as well. Mr. President, I'm just thrilled to represent this group and all they stand for to create a space for folks who are surviving breast cancer and not just surviving but thriving here in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. So I ask that the resolution be read across the desk.
Clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to the Annapolis Dragon Boat Club in recognition of being the only Dragon Boat Club representing the state of Maryland at the International Breast Cancer Paddlers Commission Dragon Boat Festival. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 27th day of March, 2023.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. All right, to the wonderful ladies of the Annapolis Dragon Boat Club for being the only Dragon Boat Club representing the state of Maryland at the International Breast Cancer Paddlers Commission Dragon Boat Festival. Congratulations. The Senate celebrates you. Thank you. And to the supporters in the gallery above, thank you all as well for supporting these wonderful, wonderful paddlers. Excellent. Thank you all. Thank you. Are we ready with our basketball team? All right. Senator from the 28th District.
Yeah, Mr. President, colleagues, I'd like you to join me in welcoming the Henry E. Lackey High School girls varsity basketball team to the Senate floor. They're joined by their principal, Miss Kathy Perilli, and coaches Joanelle Barnes, Taylor Day, Jamila Gallum, and Eddie Hall. Tonight, we are recognizing the team's victory in the 2A state championship game they played on March 11th. This is the program's first state title, and they won by virtue of a 53-33 score over Kent Island Buccaneers.
Ooh, 37. Okay.
According to an article in the Southern Maryland News, Nadia Regala led all scorers with 25 points. Let me say she's a 10th grader, I do believe. So this team is coming back again and again, right? She led with 25 points, connecting on 5 3-point field goals. And Kennedy All added 23 points and 10 rebounds to lead the Chargers to their first state title. Nadila Regala is also the 2022-2023 Conference Offensive Player of the Year as a 10th grader. Congratulations to the Henry E. Lackey High School Chargers. And just want to add that we're joined by Commissioners President Reuben Collins and Ralph Patterson in the gallery.
Up behind us. Wonderful.
I just want to welcome them and welcome the high school, Henry Lackey High School Chargers girls varsity basketball team. And Mr. President, may the resolution be read, please.
The clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Lackey High School girls varsity basketball team in recognition of your winning the 2022-2023 2A state championship. We applaud your outstanding season and wish you many more. Congratulations. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this 27th day of March 2023.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. To the young women, coaches, and administrators of Lackey High School girls varsity basketball, congratulations on your 2A state championship, your first one for the school. It is remarkable. Congratulations. Wonderful. We are honored by your presence. Keep up the great work on the court and in the classroom. Keep it up. It's great. It's wonderful. Oh, we didn't get a picture yet. The Vice Chair, thank you. Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you all for being here, and hope you enjoy your visit here, and keep up the great work. Keep it up. All right. Senator from District 9, did you? From Howard and Montgomery counties? Senator from District 9? No. All right. And now, let's see. Do we have introductions? Introductions? Any introductions? None? Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator, yes. Thank
as you know, tonight was 21st District night because you were there, which we really appreciate. And many of the folks from 21st District are probably still partying, but some may be in the gallery. So if there's any of the folks from the 21st District who are in the gallery, please stand up and be recognized.
Welcome to the 21st District residents out behind us. Yes, wonderful.
There you go. Thanks very much for coming down. And thanks to my colleagues for the warm welcome for my constituents.
Absolutely. All right, Senator from the capital city.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a big night for Annapolis. We have a number of guests in the gallery. First, some Naval Academy midshipmen from across the country joined us today. I'm not sure if they're up there or they will be there soon. Well, I had the chance to speak with them about our work here in the Senate and want to welcome them as soon as they get here. And we also have in the gallery guests from St. Anne's Episcopal Church of Annapolis, just on Church Circle, including Abigail Zachariah, Stuart Reith, members of the St. Anne's Youth Service Corps, and Tempest Brevard, and the Director of Children and Youth of the Church, Mary Price Reith from St. Anne's, is also with us. I just want to ask them for a wonderful Senate welcome.
Welcome.
In the corner.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to see you all. Hope you enjoy your visit. Thank you for being here. All right. Yes, Chair recognizes the Senator from Anne Arundel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've got a few welcome announcements to make. But first of all, we also had our district night tonight from District 33. I think we have some members here in the gallery, although we were across town, so some of them may not have gotten here just yet. But I did want to welcome, because I see them up there, my friends and neighbors, Jim and Sarah Cox and Mindy LeBlanc. If you could just give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
It is my understanding as well that we have some members from the American Federation of Teachers in the gallery as well. I'm not sure if I see them, but if you're here, if you could please stand up, we'll give you a round of applause as well.
Some AFT members, yeah, maybe behind us, yeah.
Perhaps. And then finally, if I could just welcome back our pages for their second and final week. Colleagues, we have our pages that are returning back for us. We have May Cruz, Washington County from District 2, a student at Barbara Ingram School of Arts.
Welcome back.
William Cosma from forgive me, Worcester County. Did I do it right this time? From District 38, a student at Stephen Decatur High School. Henry Miser, St. Mary's County, District 29, a student at St. Mary's Riken High School.
Welcome back.
Mara Nisa Saeed, Frederick County, District 3, a student at Tuscarora High School.
Welcome.
Kiana Simon, Montgomery County, District 39, a student at Colonel Zedek Magruder High School.
Magruder.
And Miley Sordo Alvarado from Prince George's County, District 25, a student at Surrattsville High School.
Good old Surrattsville.
Audrey Tabibi from Montgomery County, District 14, a student at James Hubert Blake High School.
Welcome back.
And then finally, Zanaraya Ware from Baltimore City, District 40, a student at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Welcome back. Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Pages. You're going to have a fun week this week. It's going to be busier than the last time you were here. I promise. It's going to be very busy this week. All right, other introductions. Any other introductions? Go for the order? No? Do you want to make just a quick note on schedule, Senators, before we jump into things? It's going to be a fluid week, and then an even more fluid next week. So the calendar is going to be pretty packed. It's going to be a lot of committee time for this week. Next week is going to be a lot of double sessions. So we're going to try to avoid a double session on Wednesday, which is the first night of Passover next Wednesday. So we're trying to keep that on the agenda, but for Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we also are recognizing that it's going to be Easter weekend the weekend before Sine Die, which, of course, is we're going to try and avoid that weekend if we can, but if we can't, we can't. So we'll do the best we can to try and make it work. But this is going to be a busy week. There's a lot of work to do in both chambers, and so we're gonna make it work. It'll be fine. It's gonna be great. We're gonna enjoy it. This is where we separate the wheat from the chaff. This is where real legislators get made. So all right. Any further announcements for the good of the order before we keep going? All right. Without objection, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We will start with a message from the executive. The clerk will read the message.
Dear Mr. President, this is to inform you of my intent to withdraw 2 appointments previously submitted to the Senate for advice and consent. I will submit new nominations to replace these appointments. The withdrawals referenced are on the second page of this letter. Thank you for your assistance and support. Sincerely, Wes Moore, Governor.
All right, message having been read is ordered journalized. We have a... No? Okay. We have a report from the Committee on Education, Energy, and the Environment. This is report number 29. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 158, Senator Heddleman, Pesticides Registration, PFAS Testing, Requirements, favorable with 2 amendments.
PFAS testing? Oh, yes, Chair recognizes Senator from Frederick City. As the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill requires the Maryland Department of Agriculture, in consultation with the Department of the Environment, the Department of Health, and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, to study the use of PFAS in pesticides in the state. The study must include a range of topics, including an analysis of the health and environmental impacts of PFAS in pesticides, the identification of testing methods capable for testing for PFAS in pesticides, and status updates on state and federal efforts to regulate or ban the use of pesticides containing PFAS. There have been 2 committee amendments. One is technical. The other, which is rather extensive, strikes language that would have prohibited the registration of certain pesticides for use in the state unless the pesticides passed specific PFAS testing. The amendments instead require the Department of Agriculture to study the use of PFAS in pesticides as previously described. As amended, there is little, if any, fiscal impact. This bill was voted unanimously by committee. Therefore, I move the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
The floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report, as amended, is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 158 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reading. All right, we've got a report of the Committee on Judicial Proceedings. This is report number 24. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 87, Senator Heddleman, Office of the Attorney General, Correctional Ombudsman, favorable with 6 amendments.
All right. Chair recognizes Senator from the 44th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a bipartisan bill that, as amended, the bill establishes a correctional ombudsman unit in the Office of the Attorney General and specifies the units and duties. The bill also establishes a correctional ombudsman advisory board. In addition, the bill states the intent of the General Assembly regarding funding of the unit and the focus of the activities of the unit in its first year of operation. This bill will take effect on July 1st, 2023. There are 6 amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 renames the unit and strikes provisions requiring Senate confirmation and correction of the correctional ombudsman. Amendment number 3 modifies a definition to clarify that employees of the judiciary are not subject to the unit's oversight. Amendment number 4 clarifies that the unit will oversee substance abuse treatment, at state correctional facilities. Amendment number 5 clarifies a prohibition in the bill on agencies unreasonably restricting the activities of the unit. And amendment number 6 strikes from the bill the authority of the unit to issue subpoenas and bring suits, and also strikes a criminal offense relating to the obstructing the unit's activities. Mr. President, I move the adoption of the 6 amendments in the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the 6 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. On the amendments, chair recognizes the minority whip.
Mr. President, I have some questions about this bill, but I actually think I'd like to just look closely at the amendments, unless the bill and the amendments lie over under the rule.
All right, Senator's motion is in order. The bill and the amendments will lie over under the rule. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 927, Senator Waldstreicher, commercial vehicles, police-initiated towing alterations, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsors. The floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill establishes a committee on rate setting and complaint resolution for police-initiated medium-duty and heavy-duty towing and recovery. This bill was anticipated by legislation we passed last year and is the consensus work product of both the towers and the independent truckers. There are 2 committee amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 conforms the bill to the House cross-file by renaming the committee and striking redundant provisions. Mr. President, I move the favorable committee report and the 2 amendments.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from District 6 on the amendments.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to, is this working now?
Yes.
There we go. I just wanted to just make a little small statement if I could, Mr. President.
On the amendments?
On the bill.
Why don't we, go ahead, Senator.
No, I just want to say I want to thank the bill sponsor and those that worked with the trucking companies and the towers. For a period of time, there was a lot of division. And we had the opportunity, and I know he did, work very hard and worked with them. So I want to thank him for the hard work and for this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for that observation. All right, on the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 927 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reading. All right, we have another report from the Committee on Judicial Proceedings, number 25. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 485, Senator Lewis Young, residential property sales contracts disclosures, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Frederick as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 485, Frederick County residential property sales and contract disclosures. As amended, this bill requires a seller to include with a contract of sale for residential real property located within 0.5 miles of a national priorities Superfund site an addendum to the contract signed by the buyer and the seller that includes the identification of the Superfund site and its proximity to the property, the definition of a national priorities list Superfund site, and the web address of the United States Environmental Protection Agency Superfund site search tool. The bill provides that a buyer may void the contract and is entitled to a refund of money paid if the addendum isn't provided. The bill only applies to Frederick County and has an effective date of October 1st, 2023. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 is described in the paragraph just given. There is no fiscal impact, and with that, the unanimously passed favorably out of committee, and I move the adoption of the amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 485 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 770, Senator Carter, landlord and tenant holding over landlord restrictions and tenant remedies, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, the bill applies only to Baltimore City and alters the public local laws of Baltimore City to authorize a landlord in Baltimore City to take possession of a dwelling from a tenant or tenant holding over only under specified circumstances. The bill specifies that certain provisions of the public local laws in Baltimore City may not be construed to prevent a landlord from taking temporary measures as specified under certain conditions, and the tenant's rights under those provisions may be enforced by injunctive relief. The bill requires that a court schedule a hearing on a petition for an injunctive relief within 7 days after the tenant files the petition. Finally, the bill requires that on or before January 1st, 2025, the Maryland judiciary shall report to the governor the total number of cases of illegal lockout and tenant actions for injunctive relief under the Act that were dismissed, resulted in a conviction, or an award of injunctive relief during the 12 months after the Act's effective date of October 1, 2023. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 is described above. I would move the adoption of the amendments and favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 770 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 917, Senator Gallion, Vehicle Laws, Lighting, Privately Owned Vehicles of Volunteer Fire Company Members, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 1 as the floor leader.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 917. This bill authorized specific officers of a volunteer fire company and the fire police of a volunteer fire company to equip their privately owned vehicles with red or red and white lights or signal devices in accordance with the existing provisions related to the equipping and such lights and signal devices of these vehicles. Mr. President, this has no amendments. The committee did vote in favor of it unanimously. So therefore, Mr. President, I move with the adoption of the committee report with grace. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 917 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 944, Senator Waldstreicher, Maryland Historical Trust, Warner Manor in the town of Kensington, extinguishment or termination of easement, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill requires that the Maryland Historical Trust extinguish an easement on Warner Manor in the town of Kensington in my legislative district. We are doing it at their request. There are no committee amendments. I move the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 944 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. All right, let's do a quick quorum call before we do. Actually, before we do that, sorry, Madam Clerk, let's do special order. No, we do have to vote on this, but let's do a quorum call before we vote.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. We have special order calendar number 41. Clerk will read the report.
Executive nominations report number 7. Question is, will the Senate advise and consent to the nominations of the executive?
All right. Question before the body is, will the Senate advise and consent on the nominations of the executive? Senators, these are the nominees from last week. Any additions, Madam Chair? Any separations or anything that we need to, any discussions on the report? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, the Senate advises and consents affirmatively to the nominations of the executive in report number 7. We have a third reading calendar, number 57. Clerk, read the first bill.
Senate Bill 914, Senator Ellis, Hospitals Testing for Fentanyl, the Josh Seams Act.
We don't have it up on the board yet.
That would be helpful. There we go.
All right, thank you. All right, Senate Bill 914 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 914, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 940, Senator Mused, State Board of Pharmacy, accessible prescription labels, bags, totes, and medical guides for blind, visually impaired, and print disabled individuals regulations.
All right, Senate Bill 940 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 940, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 962, Anne Arundel County Senators, Anne Arundel County Alcoholic Beverage Licenses Residency Requirement.
Senate Bill 962 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 962, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 965, Senator Benson, Cancer Screening, Health Insurance, and Assessment of Outreach, Education, and Health Disparities.
Senate Bill 965 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 965, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We are waiting for an important message before we close out tonight, to which our incredible Secretary of the Senate's office has magically put together perfectly at the right time. As is always the case, we have two messages. The first is a message to the Senate. The clerk will read the message.
by the Majority Leader. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the House of Delegates refuses to concur in the Senate amendments and respectfully requests the Senate recede from its position. Should the Senate prefer a conference committee to confer on the disagreeing votes of the two houses, the House appoints Delegate B. Barnes chair, Delegate Chang, Delegate Smith, Delegate Grist, Delegate Corman. In addition, the House has appointed in advisory capacity Delegate Shetty, J. Lewis, and Bridges. Said bill is returned herewith by order Sylvia Siegert, Chief Clerk.
Message having been read is ordered journalized. We have a message right back. The clerk will read the message to the House.
By the majority, ladies and gentlemen of the House of Delegates, the Senate does not recede in the Senate amendments and agrees to a conference committee to confer on the disagreeing votes of the two houses. The Senate appoints Senator Gazzone chair, Senator Rosa Pep, Senator McCrae, Senator King, and Senator Quarterman. In addition, the Senate has appointed in advisory capacity Senators Elfreth, Jackson, and Zucker. Said bill has returned herewith by order Nicole Alexander, Secretary.
Message having been read is adopted. We've got one more set of messages on the companion bill here.
By the Majority Leader, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the House of Delegates refuses to concur in the Senate amendments and respectfully requests the Senate recede from its position. Should the Senate prefer a conference committee to confer on the disagreeing votes of the two houses, the House appoints Delegate B. Barnes chair, Delegate Chang, Delegate Grist, Delegate Forbes, and Delegates Shetty. In addition, the House has appointed in advisory capacity Delegate Smith, Bridges, and Corman. Said bill is returned herewith by order Sylvia Siegert, Chief Clerk.
All right, message having been read is ordered journalized. Let's read our message back to the House. Clerk, read the message.
By the majority, ladies and gentlemen, to the House of Delegates, the Senate does not recede in the Senate does not recede. No, wait. In addition, the House the Senate does not recede in the Senate amendments and agrees to a conference committee to confer on the disagreeing votes of the two houses. The House has appointed Delegate B. Barnes chairman, Delegate Grist, Delegate Forbes, Delegate Shetty. In addition, the House has appointed in advisory capacity Delegates Smith, Bridges, and Corman. The Senate appoints Senator Gazzone chair, Senator Rosa Pep, Senator Bailey, Senator Benson, Senator Hedelman. In addition, the Senate has appointed in advisory capacity Senator Jennings, Salling, and Zucker. Said bill is returned herewith by order Nicole Alexander, Secretary.
All right, message having been read is adopted. After that, the desk is officially clear. Desk is clear. Senators, just as a quick note, because days are going to get longer on the floor, resolutions are going to be shut down pretty soon here. So it is very, very important, but there's a few that we've had to cancel that will come up that we've had to reschedule because of one reason or another, but we're not going to take new requests. So please keep that in mind unless there is an extreme dire emergency of the resolution nature. I don't know what that would be, but let's see. Do we have any announcements? Any of the committees? Yes, Senator from Howard and Montgomery counties.
I have an introduction.
Excuse me?
An introduction?
Introduction. Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'd like to give a warm welcome to Dr. Aniruddha Reddy, who's here today from Ellicott City. She specializes in internal medicine and rheumatology in Baltimore. So if we could just give her a warm welcome, that would be great.
Wonderful. Welcome. Thank you for your work. Thanks for being here with us. All right. Do we have any announcements from any caucuses, delegations? Chair of the Democratic Caucus.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Senate Democratic Caucus will be meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Chair recognizes the Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Republican Caucus will be meeting at 8:30 to get ourselves ready for this final push.
All right. Don't work too hard. Don't work too hard.
We could just adjourn after passing the budget, Mr. President. If you
Fair,
want,
fair. Good point. We could. What about that capital budget that we're still waiting on? Yeah. All right. Yes, Senator from 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was remiss in my protocol duties earlier in letting the body know that we have a birthday today. The chair of the Budget and Taxation Committee, it is his birthday today. If you could just give him a round of applause.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Chair recognizes the senator from District 7.
Thank you. Permission to use the senator's name?
Senator may proceed.
Thank you. Colleagues, it's Senator J.B. Jennings' birthday also today, so let's please wish him a very happy birthday.
That's great.
Mr. President, I was getting to that. That was up next. Thank you.
Permission to use your own name. That's a classic. That is classic. That is a good one. All right. It's going to be a good week. All right. Let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a more somber note, we had talked about adjourning tonight in honor of the victims of that really bad crash on I-695. So we have here Rolando Ruiz, 46 from Laurel, Carlos Orlando Villatoro Escobar, 43 of Frederick, Jose Armando Escobar, 52 of Frederick, Milan Simmons III, 31 of Union Bridge, Milan Simmons II, 52 of Union Bridge, Sybil Lee DiMaggio, 46 of Glen Burnie, Lisa Adrian Lee, 54 of Randallstown, remains in shock trauma. Malachi Brown, 20 of Windsor Mill, was uninjured in the crash, and he was the driver of one of the cars involved in the crash. So I would like to adjourn tonight in honor of those people involved in the crash. And I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Tuesday, March 28th at 10 a.m.
Without objection, so ordered. Thank you, Senator. Have a good night, everyone, and a safe